This is Bryan Johnson. Last year, he spent $2 million on his body with the goal of living forever. That's more than what LeBron James spends for his training and recovery.
My objective is to demonstrate aging escape velocity to neutralize my aging process.
But the real question is, does it all work? In 2021, he reduced his epigenetic age by 5.1 years in 7 months, breaking a world record. He achieved perfect biomarkers in every category and has perfect health for all 78 of his organs. He currently ages at a rate of 0.76 years per year, which means he's projected to live until about 200 years old right now. He calls his entire diet and protocol Blueprint. Naturally, I became curious.
Here's all my data, and here's what I'm experimenting with next, and here's where I've made mistakes, and here's where I'm trying to fix it.
When I found out that he published everything he does online, I dove deep into researching it. A lot of what he does is pretty cool, but I'd say it's pretty impractical if you just want to live a healthier, normal life. But there are a few key things that he's found through all his research. So instead, here are the 9 key takeaways from his protocol that you can implement into your life today, and you don't have to spend $2 million a year. Number 1, stop self-destructive behavior. So there are probably things that you do on a weekly or monthly basis that you just know isn't good for you. And Bryan Johnson calls this self-destructive behavior. They might be things like drinking alcohol, staying up late, or eating junk food. You don't necessarily have to eliminate it completely if it brings you joy in life, but consider reducing it. So think of the 80-20 rule. Maybe just having one slice of pizza instead of the whole thing can bring you 80% of the satisfaction. So how he recommends that you do this is that you identify the worst version of yourself.
There's different versions of ourselves, and in these different versions, we behave different ways.
For example, if you tend to binge eat late at night or drink alcohol, you can set restrictions around that so that you don't have access to junk food. This is also the easiest thing to implement because you typically know what those things are, and so you also know what you have to do to prevent them, such as just choosing not to buy junk food at the supermarket or not stocking your fridge with alcohol. For me, I found that once it gets past 10 p.m., it's really easy for me to go on like a YouTube binge and stay up late at night. So I got this lockbox that locks my phone out, and that pretty much just forces me to go to bed early. But overall, the best way to stop self-destructive behavior is to prioritize your health, which is the second principle. Once you start to prioritize your health, a lot of self-destructive behavior naturally goes away.
No, I don't want it.
Why not?
No, I don't want it.
And I heard someone say this before and it really stuck with me, which is that when you're healthy, there's a lot of things that you want to do, but when you're sick, all you want is to be healthy. Which is to say that prevention and, for example, slowing the rate of aging is more important than anything else. What you can do is to create daily habits that have been scientifically proven to increase longevity based on what's available to you. Lately, I've started to use the sauna every day because the gym that I go to has one. I've started to feel that it has a massive effect on how I feel day to day in a positive way. And there's plenty of research to show that using the sauna every day has massive health benefits, including increasing longevity. So you can figure out what those habits are for yourself. For example, drinking 2 liters of water every day, or just making sure that you hit 10,000 steps. And I will say that you definitely don't have to hit the targets that you set for yourself, but just setting a target will mean that you're more likely to hit it day to day. Prioritizing your health today will pay massive dividends to yourself in 10, 20 years. Another thing that you can do to prioritize your health is to improve your diet 1% at a time. So over the years that Bryan Johnson has been following this protocol, he's improved his diet incrementally until he found what he considers to be the most nutritionally complete meal. Just by eating this exact thing every single day, he has perfect biomarkers in every category. I personally don't believe that there's one meal that is perfect for every individual, even if the biomarkers say so. I think what you can do here is to tweak your own diet to see where you can make healthier replacements. What I've been trying to do is just to improve my diet by 1% every chance that I get. And these are pretty simple things to do as well, like replacing mashed potatoes with broccoli, or like having a protein shake in the morning. 1% improvements compounded over a long time lead to drastic change. So this is one of the easiest things that you can do to supercharge your health and longevity. One thing you can do is that whenever you eat out, you can try to choose the healthier option versus the one that you think tastes the best. For Bryan Johnson, he found that being vegan was the best option for his body, and he fills in any other nutritional deficiencies through supplementation, which leads me to the next principle. It's pretty difficult to be nutritionally complete just from eating foods normally. You pretty much have to plan out all your meals to make sure you're hitting all your micronutrients. This is a list of all the supplements he takes, and immediately upon waking, he takes all of these, including this juice.
Spermidine, peptides, cinnamon, creatine, cacao for the flavonols, 25 pills.
Which I find to be a little bit extreme. And some of these even require a prescription from the doctor because they're pretty experimental drugs that have been proven in animal studies to increase longevity.
This is given typically to diabetics. It's been also taken off-label for longevity purposes.
If you don't take any vitamin supplements at all, I'd maybe recommend you look into a multivitamin, fish oil, and vitamin D. These are some of the most tested supplements and have been proven to bring a lot of health benefits. But the only problem with supplementation is that oftentimes you don't even know what it is that you should be supplementing with, which leads me to the next principle for increasing health and longevity, which is to take measurements regularly. Oftentimes, beyond the things that are obvious that would improve our health, there are things that we can't really see physically, which is the importance of taking measurements. This management expert said that measurement is the key to improvement. You can't manage what you can't measure. A couple months ago, I took a blood test to see if I was nutritionally deficient in any foods, and I found it pretty enlightening to see how the foods I eat directly impact my health.
Would you say this is healthy?
No.
But there's also like simpler things you can do, such as just writing down what your weight is every day so you can track it. Even taking pictures of your body every day to see if you're gaining muscle or fat over a long period of time. I also wear this Oura ring to track my sleep and an Apple Watch to track my activity and workouts. I think we live in a pretty amazing time that we have all these technological tools to improve our health. If you can afford to, I think it's definitely worth investing in these things. I've also seen some people wear continuous glucose monitors to see how their body responds to them eating certain foods. But oftentimes, even though we focus on the big picture of health, we might forget about the daily self-care habits that help us look and feel healthy. And that's taking care of your skin, eyes, teeth, and hearing. With the amount of research that's available today, we pretty much know what are the harmful effects of not taking care of these parts of our body. They're pretty simple things like remembering to put on sunscreen every day, which has been proven to not only reduce your chances of getting skin cancer, but also help you maintain healthy looking skin as you get older. If you're young and in your 20s, you pretty much should be wearing sunscreen every single day. And this also ties into having a skincare routine, which can help you maintain that healthy look as you get older. I recommend Ali Abdal's video where he talks about his scientifically proven skincare routine. Bryan Johnson's skincare routine is quite extensive and even a little bit invasive at times. It's a little bit unrealistic for a normal person to do. It's also important to take care of your ears, eyes, and teeth. Like for example, with hearing, I used to play guitar pretty often and we'd go jam out in a studio room, but it tends to get pretty loud in there. And if you're not wearing any earplugs, it could really damage your hearing. And if you lose your hearing, that pretty much doesn't come back. So I started carrying around this little case of earplugs on my keychain wherever I go, and I found it to be extremely helpful. Like sometimes I'd be at a concert where the music's too loud or at some sort of like bar or club, and just having those earplugs protects my hearing for the long run. With your eyes, I think it's pretty basic, like wearing UV blocking sunglasses if it's super bright out. And with your teeth, you can build the habit of flossing, or you can use an electronic toothbrush, which has been proven to clean your teeth a lot better. And Bryan's extensive skincare protocol has been proven scientifically to reverse his skin age, so I'm interested to see what he looks like in a decade. But beyond these daily habits, one of the most powerful things you can do to look and feel amazing is to have good sleep. Sleep is the new coffee. There's pretty much a direct correlation with how much sleep you get and how much willpower you have. You'll make better decisions about your health, be more productive, and also just feel better on a daily basis. Here are 5 things that he does to ensure that he has amazing sleep every day. Number 1, blackout room. So make sure that the room you sleep in is completely dark, as any light in your room can be disruptive to your sleep and prevent you from getting into deep sleep. Number 2, wear blue light blocking glasses. So if you wear these glasses close to bedtime, it's been proven that it can help increase the amount of melatonin that is secreted by the body, which can help you get better sleep. Number 3, use a temperature controlled mattress. With this mattress topper, you're able to adjust a custom temperature when you go to bed. I find that not only does it help me fall asleep faster, I get into deeper sleep as well. Number 4, have the same bedtime daily. So sleeping at the same time daily is also really beneficial because you're essentially setting your body's circadian clock, which will help you fall asleep easier and wake up more refreshed day to day. And number 5, don't eat too close to bedtime. So if you eat too close to bedtime, you essentially activate your metabolic system. And if you want to make sure that you don't eat too close to bedtime, you can also practice caloric restriction and fasting, which has been proven to increase longevity. So when they tested this on animals, when they reduced the caloric intake by 50%, the animals lived 50% longer if they weren't nutritionally deficient in anything.
If I take any organism on the planet Earth, from yeast cells to spiders, insects, rabbits, dogs, and even monkeys now, and I reduce their caloric intake by 30%, they live 30% longer. In fact, the only organism which has not yet been deliberately tested by scientists are Homo sapiens. All the other species obey this basic rule.
And fasting is also a way to introduce caloric restriction. If you limit the time that you are eating, you'll most likely eat less, And having that fasting window allows your body to go through a process called autophagy, which can help reduce blood pressure, lower your cholesterol, and also reduce inflammation. So for Bryan Johnson, he aims for a 24% reduction in his calories, which is about 1900 calories every day. Previously, he was on a 1 meal a day diet, but then he said that his body fat dropped to 3%, which is like dangerously unhealthy. So he switched back to 16-8, which I've also found to be the most sustainable. And you definitely don't want to take this to an extreme because it might have an impact on your hormones. There's also other benefits to fasting, like increased focus, which can help with your productivity. Personally, I found that it also helped me get a better workout, which leads me to the next principle, which is to exercise for longevity. You probably already know how important it is to exercise every day, but one of the things I learned looking at his routine is to exercise for longevity. When I first started out lifting, I just wanted to go as heavy as possible and hit these personal records. But as I went along further into my fitness journey, which is almost 7 years now, I start to prioritize longevity versus just hitting certain numbers or aesthetics. The more people that I talk to that try to increase their maximum lifts every year, the more often I hear stories about them getting injured, getting herniated discs, or just having to take time off. So now when I lift, I try to prioritize having perfect form and really doing pause reps without really increasing the weight at all. This is his exact workout routine if you want to try it, but at the end of the day, I think it really comes down to this. Exercise every day for around an hour and prioritize resistance training, zone 2 training, and also high interval training. These have been proven to be the best for increasing overall health. If you listen to the Andrew Huberman podcast too, you probably already know about this. But one of the key markers of age is how much muscle mass that you retain as you get older. His fitness scores actually score him in the top 10% of 18-year-olds, which is pretty amazing. To what extent you follow these principles is up to you, but just keeping in mind these things and optimizing where you can will have a significant ROI on your health and longevity in the long run.